Something that is said a lot among society is, what are you watching right now on TV? And everybody has something they're watching. Well, I was just curious on what TV shows were based in Missouri or filmed in Missouri. So we made a video. Let's go! Hey guys, my name is Jesse Weiser and I'm a local realtor here from Springfield, Missouri. And here are TV shows that are based from our beautiful state of Missouri. Just so beautiful. Also, be sure to subscribe and like to keep you guys updated with all of our new releases. And come talk to us in the comments below. We would love to hear and interact with you guys. So what sparked this conversation about TV shows? Well, one of the biggest shows that you've probably heard of is the show Ozark on Netflix. But that got us thinking about what other places and shows have we seen but not even known they were based from Missouri. So let's get started, and don't worry, there will be no spoilers here that you can find. We just want to introduce them to you so you can watch them as well. So number one is obviously going to be Ozark. If for some reason you don't know what this show is, to which I would be surprised, it's a crime drama that stars Jason Bateman. It was released back in 2017 and ended up releasing 4 seasons altogether. The main character, known as Marty, played by Jason, ends up getting involved in the Mexican drug cartel and helps him launder money, forcing him to involve the rest of his family. Although no show could beat Breaking Bad, it does kind of run in the same vein, except this is based in the Ozarks versus the desert side of New Mexico. So more like rolling hills and beautiful Missouri instead of the dead old things in New Mexico. Throughout the show running, it's been able to maintain pretty good ratings too, so this would be a great one to hit up. Next one that we have on here is Switched at Birth. This is an American drama that premiered back in 2011 and is set in a suburb of Kansas City, the Kansas side of Kansas City, and we don't claim that here, and a little bit in Riverside, Missouri. It's about the story of 2 girls who were switched at birth at the hospital. How does it not get more drama than that? Maybe I got switched. But they discover this and make connections with the other side of their family. It's one of the first shows that had deaf and hard of hearing regulars premiere on the show. This ended up with 5 seasons in total. Personally, one of the most recognizable actors is Lucas Grabeel, who is in it. I definitely remember the commercials coming out on TV for this one. So here's one I thought was interesting. Sharp Objects. This is a psychological thriller miniseries based on a novel of the same name. It stars Amy Adams, where she plays a crime reporter who suffers from alcoholism and some other serious problems. She goes home to Wind Gap, Missouri to investigate the murders of 2 young girls. Sadly, Wind Gap is not a real place, but it is made to look like the Boot Hill of Missouri, that area right here. There she has to confront her mother, and it brings up a whole bunch of drama, yada yada, that's all part of the story. Anyways, it's highly rated all around, so it'll be worth a watch. This next one, I also remember the commercials too, but I had no idea this was set in Missouri. This one is called Resurrection. This is a fantasy drama television series that came back in 2014. It's based on a novel called The Return and is set in Arcadia, Missouri. The story has a bunch of loved ones that return from the dead, the same age as when they died. And some of these people have been dead for a long time, some showing up halfway across the world. Unfortunately, the show was canceled after 2 seasons because of the low ratings in season 2. Man, that's too bad. Apparently a lot of people really love this one, so it's too bad it went away. Here we are going to get down with some sci-fi. This next one is called Defiance, and is put down as a science fiction western drama. Doesn't sound more Missouri than that. This was released in 2013 but takes place in the year 2046. It's about a post-apocalyptic future on an Earth that has radically changed with new species, some being aliens from outer space and some from the result of contamination and what they call terraforming technology. They built this town called Defiance on the ruins of St. Louis and follows the story of a man and his adopted alien daughter. Crazy. Apparently, it has some interesting characters and amazing visuals like monsters and landscaping. Although I have a bone to pick with the people who wrote this and designed it, because the St. Louis Arch does not look like the original arch. It's so much smaller in there, and there's mountains in the back, and where the heck is the Mississippi River? Like, we're missing that. Get it right, people. Other than that, great series. The reason they had to cancel was for, they say, financial reasons. The video game that came along with it was very successful, and the servers for the video game continued to be up until 2021. And looking at some of the playthrough, it looks fun. All right, here we go with Fargo Season 4. I know it's odd that it's only Season 4, but the first 3 seasons actually take place in, Fargo, or anywhere near there. The city of Fargo sits on the line of Minnesota and North Dakota, so most of the seasons take place in little towns in one of those 2 states. Fargo is a dark humor crime drama, and it is some of the best television out there. If you haven't seen it, it comes highly recommended. They have big stars like Billy Bob Thornton, Martin Freeman, Kristen Dunst, and Ewan McGregor. Season 4 stars Chris Rock and centers around the story of 2 crime syndicates who struggle to control the Kansas City area. It involves him struggling against the Italian Kansas City Mafia. This part of the story takes place back in the 1950s, so it's interesting to see some of the scenery back in the day. It's a bit slower than some of the other seasons, but follows an engaging storyline. So here we go. Missouri doesn't get a lot of comedies, but this one is a good one. It's called Superstore. This show was released back in 2015 and had 6 seasons. It's a highly rated show, one of the top ones on television. This is set in St. Louis inside a store called Cloud 9. It's a fictional store that would be the equivalent of a Walmart or some sort of big box chain store. They all wear blue, so that definitely makes it feel like Walmart. This show follows the employees that work there, and as you can imagine, with all comedies that involve an office, they have some amazing and hilarious characters that are easy to like. It's an easy watch, and there are some things that are downright hilarious and situations I would think actually happen in these kind of stores. Do you remember me talking about Ken Rex McElroy? I said it in a different video once, but they made a special on this very story. It's one of the most fascinating stories about how a man was shot in broad daylight, and no one in the town would give up who did it. Isn't that a little weird? If you're wanting to see the video where we talk about it, click up here right there. Also, there's even a special talking about Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who had to live years of her life as a disabled girl because of her mother, and ended up having her mother killed by her boyfriend. Fun fact, Miranda Weiser, my wife, actually had seen them and met them a few times because they lived here in Springfield, Missouri. We just wanted to throw these in because they are some really fascinating crime stories from Missouri. So obviously this list is just the tip of the iceberg. We found a lot of different TV shows in Missouri, and we will link our resources down below, so if you want to look at more, there's plenty to choose from. Now, have you seen any of these we listed above? I've watched the first 2 seasons of Ozark, but I haven't had the time to watch the latest seasons. Been a pleasure hanging out with you guys. Enjoy the TV shows. See you in the next video right over here or right over here. Anyways, subscribe. Have a good one. Okay, here we go.